All right, so this is going to be the plot craft talk in plays. So plot part two, we talked about plot last week, and we even talked a little bit about narration, the kind of narration in poetry. So plot is in everything. So again, we already have a basic understanding of plot in itself, but plays use plots in both similar and different ways. Of course, we have our basic plot graph of beginning, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution, but plays have some more specific vocabulary that they use in terms that work with their plot. So instead of beginning, we have the preliminary event and the initial incident. Preliminary event is what happens before the play starts. The initial incident is what gets the story going. The initial incident is, something needs to happen. Some motivation needs to be revealed to start the wheels turning and get the play started. In the play we're reading this week, She Kills Monsters, the preliminary event is Agnes's sister is killed. So we don't get to see that in the play, but we know that. And then the initial incident is that Agnes goes to the game store to learn about her sister's favorite game. Boom. And then we have our typical rising action, and this is everything that leads up to the play's climax. Typically, plays are divided into Act 1 and Act 2. Act 1 needs to be the initial incident, and the rising action. And then Act 1 ends on the climax of the story. So right at the peak, when everything's just about to kind of combust and everything's super crazy, usually we end Act 1, give the audience some time to use the restroom, get some water, that kind of stuff. You want to leave the audience kind of on their seats at the end of Act 1, waiting to see what happens next. And then you begin Act 2. This is where you need to address all of the fallout that happened from the climax or the falling action. So this is where you actively work towards the play's resolution, the falling action here. And then you get to the end of the play called the denouement, which is French for unraveling. And this is our resolution where the problems that the play has concocted had either been resolved, or you could unresolve them if you want to be like super mysterious and eerie. Again, there's no one way to kind of write your play, but these are the basic bone structures of how plays are typically written. So I encourage you guys while we're reading She Kills Monsters to kind of see where the writer in Nguyen kind of maps that graph of how the plot is actively moving along.